Good evening, Windsor. This is Angie. It is Tuesday, April 14th, and this is our evening COVID-19 update. Today's update has us currently at 21,628 cases, a relatively moderate increase compared to prior days. The most significant increase today is in the area of deaths related to COVID-19. Yesterday evening, you may recall I reported as of 6:30, Department of Health indicated 499 deaths. However, as of this evening, deaths have risen to 571, unfortunately. So that is 72, unfortunately, victims of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, which is by far the most significant increase day over day to date. So we're doing the best that we can. We'll just keep taking it day by day, and I know we've still got some time left in this COVID-19 pandemic. What I'm reading, I'm seeing the peak of individuals that will die related to COVID-19 is anticipated in Florida on or around May 6th. It's April 14th, so unfortunately that gives me an indication that we still have some time, that we're going to have to be working through this virus, and of course once we peak, we still have to travel down the other side of that annex. So we've got some time, but we're taking it one day at a time and making things the best that we can. So we just keep doing it, keep moving in that direction. This week, we're distracting ourselves with our second birthday. Windsor turns 2 on Thursday, so we've been finding some ways to celebrate each day and bring a little bit of joy and surprise and hopefully lots of smiles and laughs to your front doors. Yesterday we had the traveling flamingo girls serving pork sliders and pina coladas. Today we had the food and beverage circus bring you corn dogs and oh goodness gracious, funnel fries. I didn't get any, so that's why it's not top of mind. I've tried to block it out. Tomorrow you will see myself with the administration team, which will include marketing and the business office as well, and we'll be bringing a very bright and happy sweet treat and experience to your front door. So we look forward to seeing you then. And then Thursday, of course, David and Ali will be representing nursing and celebrating our actual birthday with you. And Friday will be rounded out with the plant operations and environmental services team. So everyone is really looking forward to the opportunity of seeing everybody and giving you a little bit of a smile, and I hope you enjoy it too. Today, in addition to what food and beverage did for the residents, we had a little mid-afternoon snack with the staff with kettle corn and some candy bars, some sodas, just a little something to say thank you. And again, it's a distant second from what we'd hoped to do, but we still had some fun with it, and it's good seeing everybody take a minute and have a little break and dance a little bit. We had some music on. So tomorrow we're gonna have a little bit of an Olympic feast. Today was wear your favorite sports teams, of course. And then tomorrow is going to be represent your favorite country. So residents, we'd love for you to participate. We love coming to your door and seeing what you might be wearing on any given day that we do these themes. And non-theme days can be entertaining too. You never know. And Thursday is going to be crazy sock day, so wear your favorite silly socks. And then Friday, we pay good tribute to Orlando Vacation Central with Tacky Tourist Day. So we hope to see you in theme for the rest of our visits this week. Okay, few other things. The grocery program, it is still going. You are still welcome to order groceries from Windsor. Of course, you're welcome to do Shipt and Instacart as well. The convenience of ordering from Windsor is one, it's very convenient, delivered right to your door, and two, you don't have to worry about any other touching of groceries, etc., from the outside, etc., coming in. Two things I want to point out, because people seem to be running short on these items, and we're getting kind of the code red emergency, I'm out of toilet paper, I'm out of trash bags. We have those things in-house. You just have to order them through the grocery program, moderately priced, etc. Again, we don't have the variety of brands you might be used to at the grocery store, but we do have toilet paper, facial tissues, paper towels, all of those kind of things, trash bags, different sizes, etc. So please inquire with any of the servers, food and beverage team, or give a call to the front desk and we'll make sure that those items get delivered to you, or you can get an order form and you can take a look at what we have. And one thing I want to mention in talking about that, one thing I said a second ago was you may not have the variety you're accustomed to in the grocery store. I just want to address that quickly too, because what I'm reading, and I don't know if people are seeing this as well, is we are starting to anticipate a little bit of a food and kind of goods shortage in certain areas. Right now, that's already being experienced in a couple of different areas, specifically flour, yeast, and eggs are becoming increasingly difficult to get, which is kind of crazy. I never anticipated difficulty getting flour or eggs, etc. Although I find if I go on Instacart or whatever, there might be 5 varieties of eggs and 4 of them are out of stock. So we do have eggs in the house as well. If you'd like to order any of those for your kitchen, we're able to get those through Cisco. So thankfully our supply is still pretty good, but we're having to choose different eggs, etc. now because the variety is also being affected, and that's in a lot of different products. So while there might not be a shortage of X, in general, the number of options might be decreased. So you might even start seeing that if you're ordering from Instacart or shipped, you might start seeing that decrease in variety as well. So we're anticipating that. One of the other things that we're anticipating that's a little bit, I'm not going to say it's worrisome, but it's something we're going to have to take into consideration. And so as we move forward, you might see some changes. Is there are expected to be some significant, there have been some disruptions already in meat production, specifically pork, poultry, and beef as well. That's another thing. Unless people are reporting they get to the grocery store super early in the morning, they're having trouble getting meat. I've gone on Instacart or shipped a couple times myself. I was gonna make chili for some of the folks that are staying here and I couldn't get ground beef. So they sent me bison, which was fine. But again, it was like, goodness, ground beef. When's it ever been hard to find ground beef? But it is. So Smithfield, which is one of the main pork providers, I don't know, in healthcare we call people providers, companies, manufacturers, factories, whatever, they had a pretty significant outbreak of COVID-19 among their employees. I think they had 30 plus cases. So they've essentially had to shut down their entire operation. So, talk about one of the largest providers of pork in the country, and they're now at a halt. So that production is going to be affected, obviously. So these are the things now that we're starting to see that are indirect effects, I guess, of this COVID-19 pandemic. So we're just going to continue to do things the best we can. We've got a great group purchasing organization that we work with in Care Purchasing, and they do a really good job helping to source and negotiate the right contracts for us and make sure that we have what we need in our communities to make sure our residents are well fed, taken care of, and have access to what they need. So I'm not worried, but I do think that it has the potential of affecting certain options that we're able to provide. So not something necessarily in the next week or so, but beyond that, it could become more of an issue. So we'll talk about that as we move forward, how that might affect our menus and what we're serving, etc. But we want to have an open dialogue with you about that and just let you know that that's something that could be coming down the pike that we are potentially going to be dealing with. Let's see. Another topic, just a reminder, I think I put this in the notes or we talked about it a couple nights ago. FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, Google Duo, whatever it is. We know a lot of families are enjoying talking to residents. A lot of residents are enjoying talking to their families and friends, and that's great. Some people are able to do that on their own, no problem, but some people need a little assistance. Some of our residents in the club maybe need a little bit of assistance, we are happy to help you do that. We're happy to help our village residents as well do that. But we are requesting 24-hour advance notice by a family member. If you want to schedule a time to talk with your loved one and they're in the club or the villages, please shoot us an email or request, but please try to make sure that it is 24 hours in advance of the call. Staff are all over the community trying to keep the residents engaged, and obviously that's a little more challenging these days with everybody in their specific apartments. So we are doing our best to touch as many residents as many times as we can each day. So if we have notice, that really helps us in planning our day. As far as memory care goes, again, 24-hour notice is requested for phone call, not for phone calls, for FaceTime, etc. With the exception of, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those are open call days, as we call them, between 10 and 4. You can just dial in and reach the staff who will help connect you with your family member. So that is for the neighborhood's memory care. Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. All other days, essentially for all other levels of care, we ask for 24 hours advance notice. And if you say, I'd like to talk to my mom on Tuesdays and Thursdays at this time for the next few weeks, we can arrange that too. That's an easy way for us to get those things scheduled. Okay, but the more advance notice we have, the better we can serve the residents. We have about 150 residents at Windsor now, and lots of families want to make sure that we are, somebody sitting talking with mom every day, and if somebody taking, dad out for a walk, and we want to do that. So we want to make sure we're just using our time most efficiently so that we can make sure that everybody feels like they are getting the attention that they need. Okay. All right. I think that is it, with the last topic being the face mask. All right. So if you have not received your face mask yet, either it has not been delivered to you, to your front door, or you haven't picked it up at the concierge desk, you are welcome to call extension 931 and we will let you know what to do. We can either deliver it to you or you can come down and get it. But this is what we are providing. We got these bandanas in the very beginning when I was doing my crazy shopping to make sure that we had ample PPE for the staff. And obviously everybody knows that there was a significant shortage of PPE, which stands for personal protective equipment. And PPE includes a face mask, it might include a face shield, it might include safety glasses, it could include head covering, a gown, booties for our feet, and gloves as well. So that's all the PPE that a healthcare provider might use. So while surgical masks are obviously more ideal, more appropriate for this situation because of this worldwide shortage that we're having, there is a lot of use of cloth face coverings. So as I mentioned before, Osceola County put a requirement in place. We'll call it a requirement even though there's no consequences, as we talked about last night, that any individual who was going out in public should be wearing a cloth face covering. Although in the beginning there were consequences, however now they are unable to do that, but they do recommend that anytime anyone go out in public, they be using a cloth face covering. So we bought these early on when we were concerned we might have an issue getting all the PPE we need for staff, which we're, again, so pleased and so lucky that through a number of different sources, care purchasing, me just finding different vendors, David, we got in contact with somebody who knew somebody, our owner, we reached out to all of the general contractors that he worked with, and he assisted us in getting access to some masks. So we've been able to put together a pretty good supply for our community. Now we continue to be very, 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 very disciplined about how we're utilizing those masks and our personal protective equipment, because again, as of today, Tuesday, April 14th, we are so happy that we have not had any experience with COVID-19 at Windsor, but we are preserving our supply and stretching our supply so that in the event that that does happen, we have exactly what we need to protect our community the best we can. So we feel good about that supply. So we said, why don't we take the bandanas that we had gotten early on and give them to the residents so it's easier for you to have a face covering to use. Now, if you don't like this face covering, you don't like the way it feels on your face, whatever it is, there are a lot of different options you can use. I've seen people, I made a pair out of leggings. So these are old pair of leggings I have, and I just cut the leg and cut some little strips in it. And I made a cloth face mask. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. Okay, you can use the bottom of a, ooh, my goodness, careful. The bottom of a t-shirt, you can use the sleeve of something. There's a lot of different things that you can use. And I know there are some crafty ladies and gentlemen in the community who can probably teach me a lot of things, but nonetheless. So if you don't have a cloth face mask like that, or, you know, not really a big deal to you, and you're just like, yeah, I'll just use this. Couple ways that you can do it. So what you're gonna do is you are going to corner, fold your face mask into a triangle. All right, triangle. All right, and then there's a couple ways you can wear it. You can just use it here and tie it behind your neck, and it can be long like this, okay? That's what it looks like. Covers your nose and your mouth, all right? So you can wear it like this, or if you prefer a little bit of a snugger fit, you can take this top and roll it down. All right, makes it a little shorter, okay? And you can do that once or twice. Let's do it twice for the sake of this, okay? And then you can just bring it up here, and that gives you a little bit of a thicker, amount of material to breathe through. People will often, as well, create another level of barrier. You can put a paper towel in here, okay, and then fold it. And it almost serves as a little bit more of a filter, a little bit more protection. But that's really it, okay? So you just tie it. And really important, whether you have a cloth mask or a real surgical mask, it needs to be over your nose and over your mouth. Okay, I've seen a handful of residents like this or like this. That's not, whether it's cloth or whether it's a real surgical mask, that isn't going to do it, okay? So this isn't gonna help, all right? We've gotta keep it up, and to the extent you can, have it pinched into your nose. I use my glasses to kind of keep mine in place, okay? And that is really that, okay? So, very strange thing we're doing these days. Never anticipated learning to make face masks out of leggings or bandanas. So, but that's where we are. So, if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask. It's pretty simple. Just cover your nose and mouth. And again, and you can use pretty much any material. If you're going to cut an old t-shirt or whatever, if this isn't comfortable. If you wash this a few times, it'll get a little softer. I will say, if you do go out in public with your mask on, you should wash it. They are recommending that you wash them between use day to day. So keep that in mind. And again, to the extent possible, you're going to want to refrain from touching the mask with your hands, okay, and moving it up and down. All right, and I know that's hard. It's hard. We've been wearing masks for what, 2 weeks now, and it's hard. We've definitely gotten more used to it, but it's still it's still a challenge. So anyway, we also delivered a little note that told you where you're supposed to wear them and when, so that you just had the direction from Osceola County as well. But remember, our desire is that you stay home in your apartment, obviously going outside and getting some fresh air, but staying home largely and not going out unless it's really 100% essential. There was some confusion last night I do just want to address though. Last night we talked about the 14-day self-isolation or self-quarantine, and that was specific. So all of us are kind of quarantining at this point. We're all quarantining at Windsor, okay? But the difference is what we're asking is if we have residents that are going out into public off Windsor property to an appointment and they're interacting with other members of the public, non-Windsor people, whether it's a doctor or a nurse or anyone in the hospital, at a wound clinic, at a chemotherapy or infusion center, whatever it is, we are asking those residents when they return to the community to self-isolate. And it's interesting, I had a resident approach me today and say, Angie, I found out that we have a friend in Germany who contracted COVID-19. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. Luckily, he's okay and he's in his home, or he's actually staying with his son recovering, but he contracted COVID-19 from his physician in the hospital setting. So that is the reason why we are so conscientious and being so diligent and asking people that if you interact with the public and you return, you bring risk back to the community. We need to manage that risk by containing you within your own dwelling, okay, so that others aren't potentially infected. And I know that's hard. I know it's hard to think about staying home and staying inside. And I know it's hard on you as an individual, but again, in a situation like this, in a pandemic situation, it's not only me as an individual, as Angie, and how this pandemic is affecting me, but it's how I affect others as well, right? So if I am going to have to continue to go out into the community and interact with the public and then return to Windsor, I have a responsibility to my neighbors to not put them at greater risk, okay? And I am potentially putting them at greater risk if I'm going in and out of my apartment, touching elevator buttons, touching door handles, interacting even within 6 feet. I read this morning, it could be up to 13 feet. So this is why we are asking residents, really insisting that if you are out interacting with the public and return to Windsor, that you self-quarantine, stay in the apartment, not going in and out of the apartment for 14 days. Because I know you love your neighbors and I know you would never want to bring anything back to your neighbors, okay? So I just want to clarify that. If you're not leaving campus, you don't need to, you can still leave your apartment and go outside, okay? If you are leaving the community and going out into the public, we don't want you in and out of your apartment throughout the building because of that increased risk. So hopefully that clears that up for some individuals that might have been confused with that last night. But anyway, I think that pretty much concludes the update today. Hopefully tomorrow is a great day, and I will look forward to seeing you with my team members on a fancy party cart headed your way. And I think it'll brighten your day. I know that it's gonna brighten mine. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have a good night, rest well, and we will see you same time, same place.